Hey everyone, my name is Josh, and this is Moonlight. If you have not heard about Moonlight before, we meet every Wednesday at 9 p.m., and it's just a place to come share side projects you're working on, whether it's a business, a game, a tool, or whatever it is. It's a chance to come talk about it and get feedback from your fellow students. So the club is split into kind of part one and part two. So every night, part one, it's kind of an open mic. Anyone can come up. You have 5 minutes. You can talk about your project, get some feedback, and followed by Q&A. Part two, we always have a live demo. Tonight, we're doing the plant project, which I'm super excited about. Some students put a lot of hard work into that. So let's go ahead and begin. I believe Taylor's going to talk about his project first, and after that, it's open mic for anyone that wants it.
Hi guys, I'm Taylor. I'm going to talk about my side project. It's a Slack bot. It plays a game. A little background first. When I started writing this bot, I wanted to do something that was antithetical to 42. We spend so much time here helping our peers, asking, giving help, but I wanted to do something that was purely by your own strengths, I guess, something you had to do by yourself. So I came up with this game named Hitman. At base, you collect everybody's names, and you collect a weapon from everybody, or the name of a weapon, something small like a banana or a cell phone, small, cheap, easily available. Then you collect a location, which is a place everybody playing the game can access. So like the check-in room or zone 2, something like that. And then you mix them all up and you randomly assign somebody a name, somebody else's name, a location, and a weapon. And your job is to kill the person's name you're assigned by touching them with the weapon at the location. And if you do, you've successfully completed your hit. And you get their hit. And then it works it all the way down until there's one man standing. I decided to do this because, it's 42, and why not make it more complicated than it has to be with a Slack bot. So the Slack bot handles your user registration and collecting of your weapon and location, and then handles assigning the hits to the individual people, the reporting of successful hits. It also confirms it, so you can't just be yeah, I killed my guy, and I'll give you the next one. And then eventually it recognizes that somebody has won and awards that person, at this point, just a point. Who knows what it will be. So the technology behind FT Hitman, it's written in Python mostly. It runs both on Python 3.6 and Python 2.7 because the Slack SDK is only Python 2.7. So it's split up into, it's like a microservice architecture. So we have I call it the fire hose. This connects to Slack's real-time API and pulls every single message and event that Slack generates for the bot. This is messages, presence changes, whether you've read your IMs or not. Literally everything that happens on Slack it pulls. And it posts it to a pub sub message queue. Anybody here heard of pub sub message queues? No? So it publishes each event under a particular topic, like a message topic, a command topic, or I don't care about this topic. And the bot, which is another microservice, can subscribe to these topics. And this is how it monitors for events. If messages aren't immediately read off the pub sub queue, they're dropped. So if I get a big flurry of messages, it doesn't back everything up. It just reads what it can and keeps going. This could probably be a problem, if it got big, but we'll see where it goes. Like I said, we've got the fire hose microservice, and we have the bot microservice, which actually makes all the decisions and reacts to the events from the fire hose. And then we have the authentication microservice. It just handles authentication to Intra. That's how you sign up for the game. I use OAuth, hand it to Intra, and get back your UID. Deployment. The microservices are kind of a pain in the ass to deal with because you've got 3 code bases and 3 programs to deploy and manage versus just one. So I use Docker. This allows me to wrap everything up in a Docker container, configure it using environment variables, like add runtime, and launch it on basically any host that I need to. I mean, Linux, Mac, it'll even run on Windows these days. Anyone have any questions? I'm out of stuff to talk about. Soon. So right now the flow is when you kill somebody, there's a report command. You report that you've hit it to a bot. The bot catches it, and then it kicks off a confirmation message to the person that you were supposed to kill. And they can either confirm or deny, so you can't cheat. There is like a 12-hour timeout on a confirmation, so if somebody just doesn't see it, it won't hold the whole game up. They deny. Still working on that part. Huh? Or you're not supposed to have a witness. It's like a very Fight Club. Yeah. Don't talk about Hitman. Yeah. So the way it's set up right now, I've got a game capped at 15 people, but I mean nobody's played, so we'll see how that goes. When 15 people become free to play, either they've newly registered or they finished a game, there's just like a pool of free users. It reaches the cap or the minimum for a new game, it just kicks off a game right there with whoever's available. So if you die in a real game or you just sign up, you don't have to wait until the current one's over. When there's enough people, a new one will just start.
Is there like a scoreboard that's going to be integrated so you know who's best at killing people?
Perhaps. Right now it'd be true. Any more? No?
Awesome. Yeah, so we're hopefully going to demo that one and play a game during Moonlight, which I'm super excited for. Does anyone else want to talk? So you can just talk about any kind of side project you have. Awesome. Now just up how much time you have left.
What's up?
I was holding my hand up with how much time you have left.
How much time? Oh, all right. Got it. It's going to be super quick. Oh, no worries. Hi, my name is Justin, and I came up with this idea recently during this huge drought of correction points. So the idea is we can have a game amongst each other where we challenge each other to something like a code-off, and we wager our correction points against each other. So our own correction points are at stake. So I don't know what kind of games we can play. It could be like an algorithm thing where the first person to make the algorithm work wins it. You take all of your opponent's correction points or whatever's wagered. It doesn't have to be correction points. It can be wallet points. Or there's also hardcore mode where you can wager your XP and you take the other person's XP and they can't get it back. And then, as this thing progresses and everyone gets hyped about it, we're going to have an arena somewhere set up, right? We're going to have holograms and, all the code's going to go up in the air. And then, when your thing works, it flashes and then it destroys your opponent's avatar. And then you see their CPs disappear and you gain it and then you get a crown. Yeah. How dope is that? Any questions? What's that? We it promotes community building. People will be excited about this.
I would be down if you're interested in the Core War branch, doing more Core War fights and letting people bet their correction points. That's I could set that up with not even having to ask anybody really.
Oh, no way.
So yeah, if you want to make the first challenge to make people make those bots, which have you messed around with those yet?
I have not.
I'll send you the PDF.
Sweet. Okay.
There's 2 PDFs.
Can we not exchange each other to just get free correction points?
Well, that's up to the vocout, right?
You can get 3 correction points for correcting other people.
Yeah.
And you might learn something.
The wager system
one point at a time I think would be fun for like people's thoughts and stuff. Though would be that like you're just correcting that little like micro project. That's why I think it's fine because you fight them against each other and then you discuss how to here's win versus the other person, and that's a little correction. And since like that's what you're doing in a regular correction anyway, is you're transferring the points. So that's why I think that'd be fine. But at higher bets and stuff wouldn't work very well because then someone could technically skip doing corrections just by doing a lot of these fights.
That's the idea.
That's a bad idea.
Okay.
You don't want to skip corrections. You want to do a lot of them.
All right. I guess that's it.
Awesome. Who else wants to go? Anyone else have any cool side projects they're working on? You then Renee.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Mason. I work on a lot of random stuff, but none of them really focused. But one thing that you might have done with me in the last 2 weeks is play a game where I draw 6 dots, and we keep drawing lines of different colors, like one person's green and one person's red, until someone draws a monochromatic triangle. I actually just played with those 2 people running out the back. It was a lot of fun. But I'm totally down to play this game with anybody. I don't have really, a game could take longer than the whole 5 minutes I have to explain it, but it proves what's called Ramsey's theorem, which is kind of crazy. We could pick out of this whole group of people, which this is really easy. It's obvious that I'm gonna say the red property, so each of us have a relation with each other. We've either seen each other or we've never seen each other before. And so this whole room, we've all seen each other because we're in the same room, and so we have red connections. And so we can guarantee that 3 of us have all seen each other. And so that's that. But it kind of is it's an absurd jump to say that we could take every person in the world and confirm that either 3 people out of the chunk of 6 that you grab, so we grab any chunk of 6 of people in this room, and they either have, they have one type of relation or the opposite type of that relationship. So Facebook friends is an easier one to like wrap your mind around. But if we chose 6 random users on Facebook, we could guarantee that the 6 users either have this quality, which is 3 of them are friends with each other, or 3 of them are not friends with each other. And this applies to any set of data because with enough chaos, order emerges. Just like with enough order, chaos emerges. So anyway, there's a really fun game to play that makes this easy and simple and a lot of fun, where you just alternate 6 dots. That makes 15 lines. Since there's 15 lines, the last line that gets drawn is guaranteed to make somebody make the triangle that loses. It's an avoidance game. There's great paper on it. I wrote a blog post on it on serialize.me, which is totally what I should have been talking about this whole post. Hi, I'm Mason Young. I have a blog about cereal and breakfast. Go to serialize.me and enjoy. Thank you. Yeah, they're going to draw the 15th line. No, because you can trick the other person into dying, and it's a p-space problem, meaning as humans we cannot like comprehend what the next person is going to. It's a p-space difficulty problem, and so we cannot predict what the other player will do, and we can't predict what the computer will do. But strangely enough, I have not found the code that does it. I have not found the proof or the brain of the AI that does it. I'm looking for it, or I'm going to just make it myself. But if the computer goes second, they can guarantee to cause that one condition out of all of them, topologically, that creates the last line drawn. And since they're who went second, they can do that. We cannot explain it as humans. If you want to try and explain it, I'm down to play those games. Let's play them. All right. Any other questions? No? All right. Woo!
Hi everyone, my name is Renee. Some of you know me, some of you don't, some of you are new. I recognize some of you as ambassadors. Okay, point being made here, I'm starting a new club out there. Hope to see some of you out there. Main idea is I'm a DJ, so I kind of want to introduce people the enjoyment of music. Therefore, I'm starting the DJ club. This DJ club's gonna be hosted every other week, Fridays, from 5 to 7. I still need to talk to Bocal about this, so we could set up the club. But just you guys get the first glance, and people online, that if you guys want to come enjoy music, learn how to essentially start learning how to DJ, essentially how big music industry does, it will essentially be those terms. If you guys are thinking of joining, come talk to me after Moonlight, and I hope to see you guys there. Questions?
Can you repeat the question?
The question is, when am I shaving my head? So, for those who don't know, I made a silly bet with one of the staffs here, and because I did not meet the requirements I was supposed to, I'm getting my head shaved off tomorrow. Requirement was to reach level 3 by Monday. Today's Wednesday. Yes, yeah, my beautiful hair is going to be gone tomorrow. So if anyone wants to come and see that, just make sure that we don't know what time, so. We will post it, but just make sure it doesn't get online too. Yeah, we'll talk to Gaetan about that. If Gaetan, if you're watching, please tell everybody what time. Everybody's excited. Help me. Yeah. Any further questions, Josh? All right. The question is, if I don't have equipment, what should I do? Sorry, you lose. No, I'm just kidding. I do have my personal equipment that I'm gonna bring out here. So I've been DJing for a couple years. I have old equipment that we could use. So essentially, it's gonna be going from the first stuff of like not turntables, but new era of like controllers, CDJ controllers and stuff like that. So we're gonna learn from mid point up. So I will provide certain
242?
Oh God, 242. Tomorrow at 2:42, I'm getting my hair cut. Okay. Yeah. So once again, to the question, I will be providing my equipment, but the fun part is that I have connections with local DJs. So here and then, at different times, we will bring local DJs to do presentations, and at the same time do tutorials on certain skills and techniques for mastering and becoming a really good DJ. So anyone interested, let me know afterwards. Yeah. And yeah, tomorrow at 2:42, my hair's gone. It should be on the outside. Not in the lab. It's gonna be outside, so there's no hair going everywhere. So on the outside is perfectly fine. But yes, thank you, Gaetan. Glad to see that you're keeping an eye on us. Anyone else? Who's next?
All right, so we can get started with a demo. So if y'all don't know, the Hardware Club has been working really, really hard these last, month? 3 weeks? And they made this awesome plant project. So they're here to demo it and show y'all how they made it.
Thank you. Can you guys see it? Just stand in front of it? Yeah, I'll probably do that. Okay. How do can I just unplug this for a second? So, hey everyone. My name's Kenneth, for those who don't know me. And this is... Oh, Michael.
I was like, wait, did you forget his name? No. Wait, what? Meow. I'm Chanel. Oh, that's what you're doing. Okay.
I'm Truman.
That's Michael.
And together we are Project Greenlight.
So this is a culmination of 3 weeks, blood, sweat, and tears. But we created this project in order to bring some green into this lab. Sorry for the pun. But we've been going over how we turn this. So the project had 2 aspects to it. There was the physical side, and then what is a 42 project without programming? So there's software in this. The goal was to create a system that was easily maintained because we're programmers and we're lazy. Okay. So, yeah, we hope to be planting edibles in this if possible, but as you can see here, that we have a bunch of different plants. Later on, you guys can come by and have a closer inspection on this. But before that, I'd like to give some recognition to the people who worked on this, because it wasn't just the 4 of us. There was Akia, who helped us with the back end. He's sitting there right now. Isaac, who helped with some 3D modeling. Sean, who was in the initial inception of this project, and some construction with Andreas, and he's not here either. But so let's start off with the design. Why the vertical tower? The vertical tower is best for being space efficient, and we thought that was important, and it being mobile was important because we didn't know where it would be. 42 Paris had something like this, but they had a wall. We didn't want to have a place where it's just gonna be there. And then water efficiency. So vertical hydroponics is about 80% more efficient than regular plant farming. So, yeah. LED light control. There are a couple of ways we could have done this lighting system, but we chose to do LEDs mainly because they're funner and they require less power. And later on, we're going to have a demo showing what we did with the RGB aspect of it, even though plants only really need red or blue to grow. So as I say, we have an assortment of plants here, and they don't really fight each other for nutrients because everyone gets the right amount of nutrients as it rains down on them. And this is a really simple system. It's just a pump at the bottom, and there's a nutrient solution, and it pumps it up to the top, and gravity pulls it back down like a shower cap. So we have it on a timer, 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off, so everyone's happy. And everything in here is food safe. We made sure of that. So the construction of it, a big part, a thank you to the hardware club. This wouldn't have been possible without the 3D printer. And there's a bunch of 3D printed parts here. We'll probably fly over them as we see. And so this was a great learning experience. I've never really done any 3D printing before, so that was fun. And that's the shower cap, and this is 90% of it. There's like a bunch of smaller fixings, but that's mostly all the 3D prints. Plus a graveyard of failed prints, but we'll spare you that. Some construction videos. So if anyone would like to talk about how to build one of these, you guys can come talk to us. We'll run you through like each and every part if you want to. But so as I said before, we're gonna go over the software side of things. So I'm gonna hand it over to Michael.
Thank you. So for the hardware/software, what we did was utilize the Arduino and Raspberry Pi in conjunction with each other. So the Arduino is really the heart of the operation. So what it's doing is gathering information via the DHT11, which captures temperature and humidity in the area. And then we have an ultrasonic sensor here as well. And that's really to read the water level in the tank that we have here, because the water does evaporate, and then the ratio of solution gets skewed, and then you see like nutrient burn on the plants. So that's there to tell us what's going on in the ecosystem here. So that's what's going on with the Arduino. It's sending via the serial port here with the cable to the Pi all this information, so temperature, humidity, with every tick. And so then we move on to the Pi, right? So the Pi is really the brains of the operation. So with the Pi, what we're doing is we're reading the data from the serial port that's being transmitted by the Arduino. We're logging that information into memory every minute. And then every hour, it calculates the average and stores that in our database. So from there, it displays the information to our graph and another page on our website. So you can see like a live or sort of live display of the most current readings. And that's about it. So that's with the Pi. Then we can do a quick demonstration of how the LEDs are incorporated into the Arduino. So right now, the Arduino is casting white light with the system. And so if the DHT picks up that the humidity is too high, it'll alert us with the lights. So we have the LCD screen here, and it'll peak right now. It's at 81% humidity. And so So once it picks up a certain level of humidity, it'll alert us with red. That way we can see from a distance, not just on the website. If it turns red, then we know the humidity is too high or too low. And then we have also heat and water level indications. So with heat, if the temperature gets too hot or too cold, it'll change the color to green. And then the water level, if it gets too low, it'll change the lights to blue. So that's just to give you an idea of how the lights work in the system here. Because we wanted to be able to see what's going on without having to be on the website or like physically in front of this thing. So that's about it. In terms of the software, like the stack we used Python/Flask to get the framework for the website up. We used SQLite to set up the database, and what else? Apache to just run the server, and a library called Plotly to populate our graph that you'll see later in the presentation. So I'll pass this off to Chanel, and she'll talk about the front end.
Hello. So I did the front end in my glorious 3 days of HTML and CSS and PHP piscine. I tried to do what I could. I know I need to learn JavaScript at this point because this was like pure torture. But this is a mock-up of what the website is going to be. I think we can demo our actual website that is running on a server right now through the Pi in a second. But just wanted to at least show you guys what we have for the next version of our website. And they're like little effects. So the lettuce actually shakes when you hover over it. And I have this grand plan, don't tell them, but I want to make Quam pop out one of them, out of one of the lettuces at some point. And there's the Raspberry Pi symbol, so when you click that, it'll forward you to the data. So it'll have like a live reading of the humidity levels, etc. And I think this is a cool aspect because You can incorporate this into the whole smart home aspect that people are all about these days. So you could probably even control it through your phone or through, if we built this web out well enough and fleshed it out, then you'd be able to control it if you're on the other side of the world for a week, and your plants would be fine. And yeah, so that's kind of it. I don't have much to say except it was really difficult.
Okay, so yeah, we'll show you the website at the end. We have like 2 versions of it, so it's cool. And then here are like the justifications and like the grander scale if we wanted to scale it up of our project. So like this whole industry, it's ripe for technological disruption. So it's really good that we're like attempting to meet what's out there just by doing a lot of research and just giving it a go. So as far as like California is concerned, the Prop 64 industry is going to be $7 billion. The organic industry, locally sourced, non-GMO, all that stuff, for the United States, $45 billion. And globally, like startups and all that stuff for vertical farming, like urban areas and like ocean-housed vertical farms, 3.8 billion. So that's a lot of opportunity for all the projects if this scales or catches on, for us to do good stuff, capture any percentage of that. The breakdown for our individual tower, it was about 300 for a lot of the supplies, and some of those were for like tools that we don't need to purchase again, which is good. So if we make another tower, it'll be a lot less. And yeah, we took about like 2 weeks to make our first MVP, and that was like delivery time included, and running into all sorts of problems, getting replacement parts, doing additional research. So that was pretty cool that we brought something together so quickly, just off an idea. And then competitors, there is a company that sells similar towers to this, and they sell it for 500. So we've already got them kind of matched. We can already compete with them just with our next version of our tower. Bowery is, I think they're like a startup that has seed funding for $7 million, and they are like kind of a larger scale hydroponics vertical farming. So that proves that there's like people see value in this industry. Our costs are pretty good. And then Edenworks is a New York-based aquaponics. Aquaponics is pretty cool because that's the thing with fishes in them, and yeah, more of a complete ecosystem kind of thing. And then, yeah, so like this was version 1, maybe version 1.5. And like there's so many things that we'd want to improve if we got a chance to do a second tower, or just got more funding to get more sensors, automate more of it, had more time to do cool stuff with web integration. Like every aspect, there's just so much potential. It's like, it was a really exciting project to work on. We're really proud to even pull this together. Most of our plants are doing well. The ones that don't seem to be, they're still alive, and they have like new leaves coming out, so they've still got good signs. Yeah, some ideas, like another tower could be purely air purifying, so great to have in the lab. We can get recommendations for plants for like the cantina, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw version 1, but this is a huge improvement. It's a career fair for our, yeah, that's version 1. It looks okay because it's only the top half, but it was literally hanging on by strings because our poles were going inwards, and yeah, so it's definitely beautified. Yeah.
Thank you.
If
Yeah.
you're on Slack, I can send you a picture of version 1 if you want to show it.
Oh, I have photos, don't worry.
You just don't want to show it.
No, I mean, we can.
It looks awesome.
It was a whole process. I mean, we even went to the nursery and like asked her why some of our plants were dying, and some of our challenges were one side of the
So this is the website right here, as you can see. Yeah. So we have the shaking tower plants there, and then so this would just display the information about just little information blurbs, and then just a simple about section. And here is where we pull data from the database for the most current or the most recent entry into the database. That was more for verification purposes. So what we really do with the data is populate a graph via Plotly. So you'll see in just a second. So here you can see data from the previous days here. So every hour it'll log information. Here math got skewed. So that's why you see like readings of like 400 and 300 up there. But yeah, so it'll log data every hour, then display it. Ideally, for the last 7 days, end goal would be like, you choose your range of information. But that's just the prototype right here. So yeah, we'll just open it to questions and yeah, go from there. Yeah. Thank you. Oh man.
So this design for the tower isn't 100% original. There's an actual forum where there are a group of guys who are, kind of copying this one guy, who copied this one guy, and this blockchain just goes all the way up to the end. No. But the design for the shower cap, they really just had this fence post cap, and they drilled holes in it. We thought we could, design something like that, but instead of having all these different parts that they kind of welded together, we'll just do it all in one piece. So the gnarly spikes that you see there, it was our realization that, okay, so the steep of the pyramid, it looks like a pyramid facing down, and the steepness of it caused the water that came out the holes to fall down that gradient. So that's why we had to put spikes in it to kind of guide it towards the side. So yeah, that was Chanel's idea. But yeah. Go first. Yes. That was not in our kit, no. The question was, did we have a sensor to keep track of the pH levels? And we do not have that, but that is definitely, we can definitely incorporate that. So pH level, also the parts per ppm sensor, just more sensors in here, the better. But this is what we have right now, so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of the decisions that we've made for the project were heavily influenced by budget. So we had the Arduino standard kit, and what the standard kit came with was temperature humidity sensor and the ultrasonic. So that's kind of what we went with. The pH sensor would have been an extra 30, and that was kind of out of budget. So a lot of this is just like making the best of what we had. So ideally we would have, temperature, humidity, pH, all that stuff in the individual pods. That way you can track like where's water lacking in the depending on the side, things of that nature. So I'll take her question first. That's a good question. So it acts as both. What we would like is to beef up the lights so they're brighter, and also still keep the RGB intact, because it's going to be acting as the grow lights, and it's acting as the notification system to us from a distance, like red, humidity, and all, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, both. And also, if we were trying to change the humidity, so it changed to red. Right. Right. So that would be like a milestone there. Like, how do we alter the environment that we have here? So baseline, we want to gather the information and display that for you, so that like at the end of your grow cycle, if you have poor lettuce growing, you can look at the data and be like, oh well, the humidity was off for a week, and that's why this starts to look like this. Yeah. 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 Anybody else? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So the question was our plan to like change the colors of the lights to mimic like seasons and light cycles and things like that. So that's the goal. So we would have to research into like what the optimal kind of conditions would be for lights, and then program that into the light cycle. It wouldn't take too long to do that. It was just a matter of getting the lights that are strong enough, and then just adding a couple if statements. So yeah.
All these plants are like non-seasonal. Like we've got the herbs and the lettuce, so that's why, yeah, just one cycle. They're just leafy plants. But if we get anything with like fruits, then we'll need the different ones.
Yeah. We're using the Arduino, so it's the it's Arduino IDE, so it's C++ that we're using to just send serial data to the port, and then the Pi's listening. Yeah, yeah. So if you come up here after the presentation, you'll see the USB cord running from the Arduino to the Pi, and that's just how we communicate. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
You spoke about there was a company that got a lot of seed funding to start. I kind of wanted to know if you were to like get your first client and they were willing to pay you something like $600 for one of these.
Right.
That's why I'm interested in hearing the competitor again, because what are they offering exactly for $500? Are they offering
Yeah.
and then how much does it cost to like ship this vertical
Mm-hmm.
thing to you? Because yeah, you already have a 40%, 35% profit margin just from what you bought
Right.
with lower costs, and so yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so their model, it doesn't, it has like experience, but it doesn't have any of the automation and the sensors. Yeah, it's not as feature rich, and it's basically like our setup. It's just like a vertical tower. It's got a pump. They give you like the nutrients and a couple like base seeds to start. But yeah.
I know the lights were one of your issues because the LEDs, like, they're not necessarily as strong as you'd like them to be.
Right.
Is that something that their tower like guarantees, and would that offset your costs back to like?
I mean, for us, if we got another set of LED lights, it would be another 60, maybe something like that.
If we scrapped these lights and have gotten the lights that we wanted, it wouldn't have added that much more cost, maybe like $20.
So that's just the next iteration you would have bought the better lights because they're worth it.
Yeah.
Time constraints wouldn't have gotten here.
Okay.
Yeah. But theirs was also LED grow lights, so.
Now, in a hypothetical situation, if you needed to produce like 10 of these to like prove an investment point, so like seed funding,
Right.
What amount would you want if you had to keep your team of not necessarily 4, but your team of everybody that helped here? So let's say you have your like 10, 12 people, and you need seed funding to do that in like 2 months. Do you have like a ballpark of that, or like?
So you're asking cost of production plus the overhead?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Do you have like that number? Because otherwise, I would start thinking about that. Because if you already have a huge market like that, like 40%, 35%, that means there's money there.
I think a big part of this project is this is just like the beginning as a proof of concept, and we really want to open this up to other students. So a big part of the website that we're going to work on is also turning it into like a tutorial page. If you wanted to, build it, there's going to be a section where you have a bill of materials and pictures of and videos on how we actually put this together. And if you wanted to join the team, you guys can be more than welcome to talk to us. And if we get get the commission to build another, or maybe we want to scrounge up some money to put it together. Yeah, we want to make this, open to 42 students. So.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of numbers, I would say like 5,000 for like the 10, just to give us some room to play with, and then whatever cost of labor for however many people it would be. So I don't know.
So that's like the invisible cost right now.
Yeah, yeah, right. So I don't know. For 10, just around 5,000 for the cost of production, and then whatever labor is. So.
To add to that too, it might be really useful if you build another concept to thoroughly document how much time it takes in each step of the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that would really help with that.
Yeah, we documented a little bit, but we didn't do it as thorough as we would like to gauge like how many hours. So that would be really cool to do for the second iteration to streamline the process, because towards the middle of it, we got really into the swing of things and really were able to stride well with it. So we can reduce the time cost there, and then also just better tracking of how much resources go into this. Yeah, so there's a lot going on. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Question? So with working with both of the Pi and the Arduino, I do enjoy working with them separately, because you can just focus and isolate, you could just make the Arduino in charge of the scraping the data and doing all that stuff, whereas the Pi takes care of more of the front end and like website stuff. So I think if we did this on scale, I still would keep the Pi Arduino combination, just for the sake of isolating and just making it easier to work with. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just preference. I mean, we could do a couple without the Arduino and see pros and cons. Yeah. So, thank you. Yeah. Question? Okay. Yeah. Sweet. So looking into, yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great suggestion. So ESP 2600, you said? 8266. We'll look into that for sure. Yeah, so I mean, like, in terms of like the actual physical thing, we can keep reducing costs there. And then Pi Arduino hardware, we can also look to decrease costs there as well. So, yeah. Anything else? All right. Oh, question? Yeah. Kenny, you want to take that?
So there's a pump at the bottom of this, and it's just your regular old, aquarium pump. 400 gallons per hour. Yeah, and it pulls it up from the top, and then gravity just pulls it down, pretty much, like a shower cap. Yeah. So there's actually no soil. There shouldn't be, but so these are clay pebbles that are in here. No soil involved. And the water just runs down the sides, and since this is protruding out, it kind of just waters the pebbles and seeps into the roots. this is an experiment, so it can go anywhere. If we got suggestions, yeah, like that, like you're talking about an enclosure into this. Yeah. 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 Yeah, that makes sense. And then one to look. Yeah. Oh, cool. Thank you.